There we go. I was waiting for my video on YouTube to finish. It was going a little slow. We're back. We're live. Welcome back to our weekly live feed now. We do our show wrap up today. So if you'd like to come and work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We can also go to showandculturecuties.com. That works too. We also have a boutique. If you're logging on Instagram, you can find all those links in my link tree. If you're logging on YouTube or Facebook, well, it's in the description box on YouTube. If you are getting on Instagram, go ahead on over to YouTube or to Facebook. Again, the link is in my bio, so hit that. It'll take you there. The reason why you want to do that is because we are going to be doing screen sharing tonight. So we do screen shares for all the photos and the videos and all those kinds of fun things when it comes to show wrap-ups so that you can actually see what it is I'm talking about. Also, say hi when you get logged on so I know you're here. Comment. I see eyeballs, but I want to see faces, right? So comment, say hi. This is interactive. I want you guys asking questions, getting involved. I plan on addressing your questions when they come in. Happy Tuesday. Yes. What's up, Lexi? What's up? I always give it about 3 minutes or so for everybody to get logged on and get their notifications so we can get rolling on this. We have 3 shows to wrap up this evening. And while we're waiting for everyone to get on, right here, Cuties Conquer the Stage 2024 QR code is right here in the corner. If you're on Instagram, you don't see it. So you got to go to YouTube or Facebook. But the QR code's right there. The link for it is also in my bio. It's also in the description box. So you can get your tickets for Cuties Conquering the Stage. And if you haven't noticed, we are announcing speakers, sponsors, all sorts of fun things as we go every single day on Instagram, on Facebook. If you're not on our Facebook group, get in there, get involved, ask questions. The girls are all in there chatting, getting to know each other even before the event right now. So that's what that Facebook group is there for. We want you to know all of the ins and outs and all that kind of stuff prior to the event actually starting. So if you didn't know, we do giveaways, we do sponsorships, we do all sorts of fun things. So I'm glad you guys are liking the podcast. We are getting some really good feedback on it. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. Jordan and I just shot our next episode right before this. So we shoot our episodes weekly on Tuesdays. So right before I got on live with you guys, we finished up our episode for this week. So as soon as I can get that edited, it will be out maybe tomorrow. Cross your fingers. If I can get it out tomorrow, I will. I like to get it out as quickly as I can. It's just a matter of how fast I can get it edited. So, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And, obviously Jordan has a ton of knowledge in the sport as well. And I think we vibe pretty well together on camera. So I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. So I feel like, we try to cut it off. So there's like an hour and 15 minutes at most, a little bit. It's been about that. It's been about an hour and 10, hour and 15 minutes. But I think we could talk for like 3 hours if we wanted to. So we have to just kind of say, okay, we're done. But I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. So hit that notification bell so that you know when those go up. Again, we are shooting them on Tuesdays. The goal is to try to get them out by Wednesday, Thursday at the latest. So you'll see them pop up if you've got notifications turned on for our channel. So subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on the notification bell, and then you'll know exactly when they actually go live. So you can get in there and watch and ask questions too. Type into the comments. This week we did answer a few questions that came in, so that's going to be included in each podcast too. So feel free to ask your questions as well. All right, so that's all the business stuff. And now that everybody's here, let's talk about this weekend's shows. We had 3. We previewed 3, and we're going to wrap up 3. So there was Heart of Texas. There was Flex in Italy, and then there was Sasquatch, and they were all really good shows. We got some things we can learn from each one of them. Really good competition. Like I said before, this is the time frame where we're going to start seeing these shows get bigger and harder. Bigger. Lots of competitors, way more difficult. Girls are getting ready for the Olympia right now. So they're doing one of 2 things. They're either warming up for the Olympia or they're trying to get those Olympia qualifications. That we're getting down to the wire here, you guys. So these shows are going to get harder as they go along, right? So we're going to start with Heart of Texas Wellness. Let me get that up. Hold on. All right, here we go. Now, this was, okay, I just want to make sure my screen is good for you guys. That's better. Okay. This was a smaller lineup, but it was deep, meaning that pretty much every girl on here, if you guys noticed, I just did my preview. So just so you guys know too, I'm still doing previews. I'm just doing them not live. I'm doing them ahead of time and editing and putting them up. So I did do the preview for this show. And if you noticed, I highlighted pretty much every girl. Strangely enough, one of the girl that won it, I didn't highlight, and that's because they had her name spelled wrong, so I couldn't find her contest history here on NPC News. Is Maria, so she did actually win the show. But looking at the list here, like I said, each one of these girls on here have done well throughout the year, so it was just a matter of who did best that day. So looking at the comparisons, I got to be honest, I'm a little bit surprised by the direction it went. This is not to take away from anybody's wins or placings or anything like that. But I feel like what's happening in wellness right now is they're just going for size in general, just size in general. So this is your top 4 right here. Issa Maria is the one that won right here, and she's clearly the largest one on stage. Now she's in shape. So don't get me wrong, she's in shape. But so is everybody else here too. Now, she's also the tallest one on stage, so for her own proportions and her own frame, she does need to be bigger in general. But you can see just looking at her, she does have quite a bit more mass than the other girls here. Let's kind of flip through these photos a little bit so you can see the comparison shots. And, when you're looking at the conditioning aspect of it, she might be the softest one here. Amanda's pretty close. The conditioning level is pretty decent, to be honest with you, across the board. She probably could have stood to be a little bit darker on her tan. Everybody else here is darker. But maybe that worked in her favor too. She might have been a little too conditioned, so they went a little lighter on her tan just to make sure, that kind of thing. Who knows? It may have worked in her favor. So let's flip to the back. This is where I had a little bit of an issue with her winning. Okay. Now, not to say that this isn't impressive, but when I look at her, all I see is glutes, right? All I see is glutes here. As far as balance of the frame and the physique, I feel like this is not balanced, right? We always talk about with wellness how while it's a lower body dominant look, the glutes and the legs should be balanced. And if I'm being honest here, I think that the most balanced person, if I'm looking at this lineup, might be Maya. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know if I said it wrong. She's got that full round pop to her glutes, but then she's also got that fullness to her quads popping out here too. I think both these girls are really well balanced too, but I just look at the pop in her glutes here. What I don't like about her pose is her elbows sticking way out. I'd like her to relax her upper body. That just makes her upper body look like it's too wide here. I don't know why she's doing that exactly. But lower body to me, this is where I'd like it to be. This is where I'd like wellness to look. Now again, I think Amanda actually looks really good here. I think they all look good. I just don't see it with this balance, right? That's a lot of glutes. Like we talk about, India having those overpowering glutes a little bit. This is the same thing here, right? So when I'm looking at this myself, I'm drawn to Mia's shape on the lower half. Though I would dock her a little bit for this upper body pose. Just gonna be honest. Yeah. I'm trying to get to another quarter turn. And I'm not a fan of this quarter turn here. I just don't know. I think Tyler mentioned that she needed to change this quarter turn pose, I think, in his last quarter turn or his last wrap up thing. She needs to turn more sideways. I'm just not a fan of that. This is a good quarter turn. Like she looks great when we're looking at her from the quarter turn from the front. I'm just not a fan of the shape from the back. I'm just not. So click that. Just wait, Jenna was second, Ismaria was third. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I would have put it in this order, to be honest with you. So let's take a look at the individual shots. Like I said, I think they're all competitive. Don't get me wrong, but to me, that was just the glutes are overpowering to me. So this is your 5th place. This is Vanina. This is the one I mentioned. She changed her suit, which was good. She definitely needed to change her suit because the suit the last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, was showing stuff it shouldn't be showing. But I'm still just not a fan of the shape. Now, I'm also going to say this too, because this was a really hard show to look at photos because of the backdrop. That backdrop with those other competitors on it and with all the words and all that stuff just being the whole banner, the whole thing, I can't. There's a lot of this body that's getting lost on me when I'm trying to look at this because I'm seeing all this stuff in the background. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that background. In general, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody put competitors on the backdrop. I feel like that takes away from the competitor that's actually on stage. So that's my 2 cents in that regard. It's actually really hard for me to look at these photos because I can't, there's just so much going on in the background. It's hard for me to see what's going on up front, right? So anyways, conditioning, I feel like she's too hard here. We're seeing striations in the shoulders and things like that. Don't like this pose much. I'd like to see her push back here a little bit. The same critique that I had for her before, that her waistline is just really blocky here. So need to change up this posing a little. But again, it's hard for me to concentrate on her. I'm just going to be honest. And every one of these pictures, it's hard for me to concentrate on the actual competitor themselves because of the backdrop. So not a fan of this back pose either. Again, she fixed the actual, the Olympia backdrop, right? Yeah. So she fixed the suit problem where it's not like bunching up. That's good, but she's just bending way too much here, right? I'd like to see her stand up. And again, same situation here. Her hair is crimped. Like it looks like she tried to tone her hair from the last show. That's what it looks like, or it may just be the lighting. But this is still not a very clean look. She did make some improvements from her last showing. I will definitely give her that, but there's just some more things that can be done. She needs to stand up in this pose, needs to fix the polish, that kind of thing. And again, I just think her conditioning is too much. Jenna, I liked her package the last time better than this one. Let's see if this is a front pose here, I think. Felt like her makeup was really off this show. I'm not a fan of her makeup. I'm not a fan of the middle part. I just feel like that it's just really drab. It's not doing her any favors. This is an okay front pose. Again, I like to see her kick back a little bit more into the glute, so we see a little bit more pop through the back and into the glute there. But overall, I think this is a pretty decent look. I just think where she has an issue is those quarter turn poses. Those quarter turn poses to me are a little off. She needs to pose a little differently. Oops. And then her back pose, she's bent over too much. So she needs a little bit more coverage up here, and she needs to stand up a little bit more. Sorry, to the knees. She's not bent over, it's the knees. She needs to stand up a little bit taller because we're losing the fullness in her glutes. If she stood up a little taller and she fixed this back cut on her suit, that would help quite a bit, right? She brought some of my makeup to try and fix her right before we went on stage. Yeah, it was just, the makeup's not good. I don't know if she had it done. Did she have it done by somebody? Because that just wasn't good. It was almost like a grayish color. Didn't flatter her very well at all. Made her look older, made her look a little bit harder. I don't like it. So that's too bad. That's unfortunate. I think if she stood up a little bit more in this back pose, that her glutes would fill out a little bit more. And like I said, I'm not a fan of this showing the top part of this glute here. Yeah, it's showing me. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. Well, yeah, unfortunately, it's too bad. Anyway, if she stood up a little bit more, I think this pose would be a lot better. And it would fill her glutes out quite a bit. I like her conditioning level. I like her muscularity level. I think she just needs to do a few tweaks on the overall posing, presentation, and polish. That's really where she needs some improvement there. Amanda, I like this. I think this is the first time she's wore this suit color, and I actually really like it on her. I think it looks really good. I like that green. It's kind of a front pose. There's not a whole lot of pictures to go on either. Like the the backdrop's distracting, and then the photos, there's not a lot of them. There's quite a bit of these photos where they're kind of in between. So it's hard to judge a lot of the stuff, to be honest with you. See, I think this is a pretty good back pose. I think that she's pretty well balanced in the back. Like I said, from the back, she's got the balance between the glutes and the legs. I think it looks pretty good. I would relax the arms a little bit. I actually noticed that in the comparisons too, a little. Just make sure the arms relax a little. But other than that, I'm not mad at it. And see how she has a lot more coverage on the inside of her glutes here than some of the other girls? That makes a big difference. It makes those glutes really round out and pop. We don't see the shallowness anymore. I like that cut. You don't need these teeny tiny little cuts. A lot of times they just don't do you any justice. I think this is better. Trying to see if there's a front pose. Not really. All these poses, she's like halfway in between, and there's only one page. I guess I could. No, she's really in between poses in almost all of these shots, so it's hard to judge. Where she's gonna always get dinged is her waistline's a little thick. Like when you look at her here. So when you look at this pose, it's her waistline that sticks out to me, that she's a little thicker through the waistline. Maybe adjust where she's got her hair, that kind of thing. Adjust this pose a little bit, but to me, this makes her look like she's almost upper body dominant with the lat and everything here too. So I think that's where the balance is a little off for me here. So yeah, waistline. Next we have is it Maya? Is it Maya? It's Maya, right? Maya. I don't know why I keep calling her Mia, Maya, whatever. Anyway, I liked her package. She fixed the hair issue from the last Texas show, so that was good. I liked seeing the hair pinned back like that. I might do a different suit color. I feel like the suit color didn't really pop off her that much, but it could just be the lighting. It could be just the photos. It may have looked great in person, but I'd probably go a little bit brighter. Like it's a little dark with the straps and stuff, so I'd probably go a little brighter on the actual suit itself. But I mean, I thought this was a good look. I thought that her conditioning, Mia, okay, all right. Anyway, I like her. I liked her look. I like the fullness. I like the shape. She's fixing some of her posing issues. She was posing very bikini-esque at the last show. I still think she needs to pose more wellness versus bikini. I think she's still got a little bit of that bikini flair here. This still looks bikini to me. So I just want to see her adjust these poses. It's the same thing that she did in the back pose with the width on the upper body. I get that she's trying to make her waist look smaller, but it just makes her look like she's just trying to be a bigger version of bikini. So I think that's what her main downfall is right now. I actually really like her physique. I like her overall look. I like her shape. I like her conditioning. I like all those things. I just want to see her pose a little different. I mean, I would, if she posed a little, just a little bit differently, I would have put her in first place. I'm just going to be honest. I would have put her in first. And then we have Issa Maria. So as I was mentioning before, I actually think that her shape is great. I think that her conditioning is great. I think her posing and her overall look is great. I understand, being that she's the tallest competitor on stage, she has to be a bit bigger. I get that. I understand. I have the same plight myself. You got to be bigger in order to get those proportions to pop. She's definitely the biggest one on stage. So they're going for size and they're rewarding it. Again, where I have the issue with this is just the balance in the back pose. Also, her suit cut. That's not flattering. So you can't even see the top of her suit because her hair is covering it. So you're seeing way too much bone here, all of that. This suit cut needs to be pulled down or be made, the inseam needs to be made smaller or something so that we don't see all that. And the hair's hitting the top of the glutes and everything like that. So this is, again, this to me, this is way too glute heavy to me. That's just my opinion, I feel like the wellness back pose should be a balance between legs and glutes. And to me, this is all glutes. So, that's my 2 cents on that. I don't think she looks bad by any stretch of the imagination. I actually think she looks really good in every other pose. This is just where I miss the balance here, and that's just where I would put Mia in that first place position. So that's my 2 cents. I know there's been a lot of chatter online in regard to size being rewarded, and yeah, size is definitely being rewarded for sure. It was distracting. All I heard was a judge talking about how crazy her tie-ins are and how long it is. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, so here's the thing, guys. If we're looking at one thing on a person, that one thing is sticking out, that's not a balanced physique. Does that make sense? Right? So I would rather see a balanced physique on that lower half. That's my 2 cents. Now listen, that'll get you that, and $2 will get you a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? But I'm just going to say my 2 cents. I didn't judge the show. I wasn't there. I didn't see it live. So there's things that could be, that I didn't see. And there's very few photos here as well. So, but in my opinion, wellness should be a balanced lower half. And this, to me, is a glutes focused lower half. That's me. That's my 2 cents. So take that for what it's worth. She's Olympia qualified, so good for her. All right, let's move on to the flex show, which I think is, which one is it? Is it this one? Nope, it's this one here. No, that's the Heart of Texas. Let me get rid of that, so I'm not looking at that anymore. This is... Okay, this is the flex. Yep. Okay, so this was Italy. Italy was actually a very, very good, very competitive show. Lisa Reith won it. I'm not familiar with her. I looked at her contest history. It looks like she's been competing quite a bit. It's hard to tell from the photos why she won, but once you look at the comparison shots, it's pretty clear. Like, it's hard to tell from the individuals. It's pretty clear when you look at the comparisons. So I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see this very well because there's quite a few girls in the actual first call out and everything, but I'm going to show you the comparison shots so you can see them. Okay. So this is your first call out. This is Lisa right here. So she won it, and then you got Octavia right here, who is in second. When you get to the end of the confirmation round, they are comparing the two of them quite a bit, So when you take a look at these comparison shots, I'm going to go to a back shot, and I want you to see what I see. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this pose here. She did this quite a bit actually in her individual as well. Her arm is kind of hanging out here like a figure arm, so I'm not a huge fan of that. But let's get through so we can get to a back shot of these girls. So she's really the softest one in the lineup from the back, right? Which I think is one of the reasons why she probably won. Some of these girls on here are too conditioned. This is a nice round look, and it's softer through those hamstring tie-ins. So I think that's one of the big reasons why she won. Again, we're going to go through all of the individual photos, but I just wanted you to see the comparison shot so you can see. Hopefully you can see that on the screen. She's quite a bit softer than everybody else from the back. So that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. In Europe, they tend to reward a little bit harder. So the fact that they're not is actually a good thing. So this is your fifth place girl. This is Naomi. First things first. Your girl, she needs to get herself a new suit. This suit is terrible. I'm just gonna be real. This suit is not flattering at all, at any stretch of the imagination, right? It is way too low, way too low in the front, and it's not pulling her chest in the front either. That black and neon pink is just not it, guys. This girl. If you're listening, get yourself a new suit. Get yourself a new suit. This is not it. Not it. It's so distracting how low that suit is. Please don't get suits that low. um, so next thing is she's actually got a really pretty shape. She's got a really pretty flow. She's got a really pretty look. She's just not posing right. She needs to twist this a little bit more. She's too straight on to the front. She changed up this pose a little bit. You got to remember, in bikini now they're looking for the S curve, not the X frame. So there's just a few things here that if she tweaked it, it would look so much better. That suit, again, if she had a different suit cut on, it would be 1,000 times better than what she's wearing right here. That said, she still placed fits, so she doesn't look terrible, but these little tiny details would have made a big, big difference on her frame. Also, her tan is too light, so I would like to see her tan darker and just rework the whole presentation of this, because man, she's got a great physique. It's just not doing her any justice. Also, posing from the back is not great either. So this is just an odd looking pose altogether. She's really over tilted. Her knees are kind of bent in a little. She needs to twist them out to make them look like they're in a better alignment. If she stood up a little bit, that would make her glutes pop a little bit more. I actually think she's got too much glute, but it could just be the pose. If she stood up a little taller, her glutes may balance out. But again, this is just not a great pose. So guys, posing is so huge. Posing is so huge. She could be a lot better than what she's showing right here. So hopefully she'll get some critiques and she'll come back and fix those things. The posing, the tan, the suit, those things would make a big difference for her. Huge difference. She's got a great physique. She's just not showing it well. Next was the Val, which is odd. We assumed she would be in that, top 2, and she's in 4th. We're not expecting it to be in 4th, right? Few reasons why. A, tanning issue. Way too dark. Tan is way too heavy on her. You can actually see here on her hip strap where like her tan is kind of rubbed off a little bit. I'm assuming that's probably from her posing routine. I think she puts her hands on her hips when she does her posing routine. She's actually rubbing her tan off a little. Conditioning is too much. See how grainy her quads are right here. Again, still not a fan of this suit. She needs a different suit. Just going to be honest. I've said that before. Her posing is beautiful. Her shape is beautiful, but she's getting some of these details wrong, right? The conditioning is wrong. The tan is wrong. Her conditioning might not have been quite so hard if her tan wasn't quite so dark, right? If she went a little bit lighter on the tan, she might have looked okay with the conditioning, but the tan made it worse, made it harder. You actually see it in the comparison shot. She is the hardest from the back in that first call out. Now the other part of this is her back shot. Let me get to it. Also not a fan of the, you can see this here. Not a fan of how this backdrop changed. See how it's dark at one point and then it's like bright flying stuff. Guys, keep these backdrops simple. I know you're trying to make it cool with the show and all that kind of stuff, but man, it just goes from one look to another. Can't assess it very well. So, okay. Back pose itself is a beautiful pose. She's doing a great job with this pose, right? Again, same thing. I feel like she's doing a great job with a lot of her posing presentation details, but like the tan is too dark. She needs to balance her glutes with her legs, right? It's hard to tell here, but you can really see it when she's standing next to the other girls that she has much more leg than she does glute. Now, I don't think she needs to bring her legs down. I think she needs to bring her glutes up. If she brings her glutes up and makes them a little bit bigger, they're going to balance better with her lower half. She's got long legs. She's a tall girl. Less is not more. More is more, right? She's also, again, conditioning. You got feathering in the calves here. When you got feathering in the calves, it's too much. She's too hard. She has a tendency to do this. She has a tendency to go too hard. That's what's happening here. That's why she's in 4th place and not winning this show. Okay. Little things, like I said, these details, these presentation things, but also she needs some more glutes. She needs to get some growth there to really balance her frame out. Again, if she was a shorter girl, it wouldn't make that big of a difference, but it does because she's so tall. Okay, so this is Christina. We've talked about her before. Again, we kind of assumed that she'd be in this area as far as the call outs are concerned, placings, that kind of thing. She's got a fantastic physique. She's still just not posing it right. She's posing herself to make herself look thin. She's pushing her pelvis forward. If she would just push her pelvis back, that would make a world of difference on this pose. She has a great look. She's got a great physique. She just needs to push her pelvis back. That's all she needs to do. If she does that, her whole shape is going to change. Her whole shape is going to change if she does that. I honestly think she could have been in the top 2 if she did that. She might have won a show already if she just did that one posing change, right? That one little posing change will make a whole world of difference for her. Let's get to the back shot. Now from the back, so she has some areas of improvement here. Her pose in the back actually is not bad, but she's definitely tilted. This is from sitting into her front pose the way that she does. She's tilted, crunched here in this lower back. The suit cut is not flattering. It needs to come down a little bit. Again, she needs to bring it down so that it can round those glutes out versus making them look a little flat. Hands are okay. I'll probably bring them down a little bit just so the elbows aren't flaring out quite so much. She's standing up tall. That's a good thing. Her conditioning is a little bit too tight. Her conditioning is a little bit too tight from the back, but not a terrible back pose itself. There's just little details, like I said, the suit cut and things like that would make a big difference here for her and just make her glutes look a little bit better. Oh man, I wish she'd fix her poses because she could definitely be qualified at this point if she did. If she fixed her poses, she would be Olympia qualified. Guarantee it. Okay, so this is Octavia. She's already won a show. She is Olympia qualified. She has done a very, very good job of streamlining her physique over the last year or so. I've actually really noticed that she used to be quite a bit more muscular, and now she's really gotten her frame into a good spot for Bikini. This is a great front pose. I still do think she's a little bit conditioned, too conditioned here. She's got some graininess in the quads, some graininess in the shoulders, that kind of thing. But overall, I'm not mad at this particular front pose. I like her waistline. I like all of this. She just needs to be a little bit careful with, probably this is just a thing with her competing a couple of times. She's probably getting a little too conditioned at this point. So I'm not, she's like borderline right now, right? She's like borderline. I wouldn't change anything about the front pose. I would just be careful about the conditioning. I think she's getting a little bit too tight. You see a lot of vascularity here. We don't want to see all of that in Bikini, right? Probably just needs to take a break and fill out a little bit so she doesn't lose that pop and that fullness when she goes into Olympia. Her tan is super dark too. Her tan is really dark. So I wouldn't go this dark on the tan. Look at how dark she is. Oof, really, really dark. Like it's like heavy. Like you can see spots where she's missing tan. When it's not seeping into the skin enough and it's sitting on top of the skin like that, it's too heavy. Her tan's too heavy here. Not a fan of this pose because it actually makes her look really broad on top and not so much on the bottom. So bring the elbows in. So bring the hands down the legs and bring the elbows in a little bit. That would help balance. She's one that actually needs to close her back off just a touch. And I'm not saying close the back. I'm just saying bring the arms down. If she brings the arms down, that's going to help. That's going to put her into a better balance here. Overall, though, the shape on the lower half is great. I wouldn't change anything there. I would just go lighter on the tan more than anything else. Go lighter on the tan. And then we have Lisa that won it. So my one big critique for her is her arm situation in her front pose. She tends to have this figure arm going on in most of her front pose shots. I think she gets it down at one point. Like that's a lot better right there. But I feel like I saw her more doing this more than anything else. Great shape. This is a good color tan. She's dark, but she's not too dark, right? This is much better on that. Front pose looks great. I would just be careful of this arm. She's definitely got that S curve going on. That's great. That's exactly what you want. But she just has a tendency to pull that arm out too much. She's nice and full and round. She has good conditioning, but she's full at the same time. So that's where she kind of edges out at this point. So let's take a look at the back shot for her. So it's pretty clear that she is the softest one in the lineup. I mean, you can see right here, right? She's got some nice pop to her glutes. She could still stand to have a little bit more pop, especially when she comes here to the States, to the Olympia and things like that. But she has the least defined hamstring tie-ins from the back in comparison to everybody else, right? I think overall this is a pretty good back shot. I would probably adjust this upper body a little bit. She's pinching her lats here. They're poking out. I want to see the shoulders. I don't want to see the lats. So I would try to adjust this so that you're pulling the delts out and back. And then maybe just adjust this a little bit too, push a little bit harder on the lower half, just so we see a little bit more pop in the upper glute. What I would do between now and Olympia is try to fill those glutes out a little bit more, try to fill them out, pop them, specifically on the top part of her glute, in order to be what's going to be competitive here in the States. Conditioning level is good, just needs to pop the glutes a little bit more. And I think a lot of that is her posing, but also just filling out the glute. She has some time to try to fill that out a little bit more. I think it would be helpful when she gets over here. So, but she is Olympia qualified, so congratulations to her. Okay, so let's move on to Sasquatch. This was the headlining show this weekend, because it was huge. So there was 44 women in bikini, right? It's huge, huge, huge. And there were a lot of women in this lineup that have placed top fives before. If you watched my preview, then you know. I mean, there was a lot of women in this lineup that I pulled out and talked about because they've all been in top fives, been close to Olympia qualification or have an Olympia qualification over this last season. So I pulled up the comparison shots. There's not a lot of really good comparison photos because they're off to one side. But I do have the comparison video. So I'm going to pop that in real quick from the live stream. Okay, so here's first call out. I'm just going to go ahead and play that. So I got the live stream. I was watching it. You know, the cool thing about the live stream was I was able to give Yulia some tips and pointers. This is Yulia right here. She got first call out. She was the last one added to the first call out. So make sure you keep your attitude, you guys, because they were done. They'd already gone through the whole lineup, and then they pulled her into first call out. She ended up working her way in. Now, it was hard for me watching the live stream because it's not very good quality. As you can see, it's not really tight in on their bodies. It's not really good resolution. So I couldn't make a whole lot of judgment calls just based on watching the live. You know, every one of these girls looked great. Watching the live stream, I couldn't tell why they were choosing one person over another. I was able to give Yulia some tips after her individual so that she could apply them to the comparison round, which was nice. You know, with there being 44 girls, Yulia Baba, she was like one of the first ones out on stage. So because of that, I was able to give her individual routine and tell her what to do for comparisons to help her when she got into comparisons, which was nice. We had time in between to do all that. But you can see here by watching this live, the lighting's not great at the back of the stage either. So you can't see what's going on back there. I know it was better in person. It definitely was not good for the live stream. So it's hard for me to make any kind of judgment calls just by watching this. You know, I wanted to be able to play it so you guys could see it. You can see what happened and all of that and how they moved everybody around. But as far as judging this, can't judge it from this. So you're welcome, Yulia. And Yulia's on her way to Battle of the Bodies this coming weekend too. So I wanted to play this through to the point where they get Yulia into the center area so we can watch the walk to the back. So I'm just going to let you guys kind of watch this while we're doing it. Yeah. So the cool thing about having a live stream is I was able to watch it from my vantage point and give Yulia her some tips and critiques, which was basically just to make sure she kept her glutes up as she did the walk to the back with the comparisons, which was a very useful critique in this particular show, since she was in that first call out. I saw quite a few girls actually drop their glutes when they were doing their individuals and stuff like that. So doing that in your comparisons is a huge, huge benefit to keep the glutes up. So let's see them turn. They're going to start moving people again. So here we get Yulia moving in. All right. So if you're not practicing your comparisons, make sure you do. Now, as you're looking and watching this is just first call out. And you can see just by looking at the video ticker there, this is 4 minutes and 23 seconds just for first call out alone. So make sure that you compose this long. Okay, see how Yulia kept her glutes up here? Much better. Yulia, I don't know if you saw that with I know I sent it to you, but I don't know if you saw it. Actually, did I send you the comparison? I might not have sent you the comparisons. I only sent you your individual. I don't know if I sent you the comparisons, but she did much better here, keeping her glutes up. I don't know if they move anybody else. Let's see. Okay, cool, awesome. Glad I sent it. Couldn't remember if I sent it or not. And I think that's it. And then they send them off and they start with second call out. So let's move into looking at photos. Okay. So I did bring up Yulia here with her individual. Now these shots are really hard to judge anything from because there's only a few. There's only a couple of shots of each girl. So this will be quick. Nice full round, has a tight waist. We talked about last show that she was in, she just needed to be a little bit tighter. You can see that she got her conditioning to come in here, which is where it needed to come in more than anything, was here, and also in her hamstrings from the back, which was perfect, exactly where it needed to be. And again, she's not fully in her pose. This arm does come down, but there's just not a lot of pictures. So when the arm comes down, she's good. We also changed her glam up a little bit, gave her a little bit of a different part with her hair, which I thought was fantastic. That's exactly what we needed to do. So this is a look. This is a look. Really good look. Here's a back shot. And pretty much right on point with the back. She's tilted a little off to the side. So watch that. Make sure you push all your weight onto, well, not all your weight, push more weight over onto the right side. This is simply from posing on this side in the front. So adjust for it so you can push over to this side. One thing that I mentioned to her prior to this show was fixing her foot position, which she did. This foot has a tendency to push out with the toe, and she moved it in. It can still go in a little bit, but this is definitely better. Definitely better than what she was doing. So take some time with the muscle memory and all that kind of stuff to fix little things like that, but it'll make a difference. Yeah, it's a great look for you, Yulia, for sure. I mentioned to her last year what she needed to do. She just needed to put on another layer of size. She's got a great shape and a great overall look. She just needed more size. So she went to an off season, came back with the size that she needed. Now she's being rewarded for it. So it looks really, really good. So I wouldn't change a whole lot. Just keep coming back with this shape and she got noticed obviously in a lineup of 44. So she did fantastic. And the overall glam look has definitely been amplified, which is what needed to happen too, for sure. So Maya ended up in 5th. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Ooh, I felt that coming. Okay. So Maya ended up in 5th. I felt like from the back, she looked great. I thought this was one of her best looks. You got all the amazing looks there, Yulia. Fantastic. So this is a great look for Maya. Actually, waist line's a little bit of water here in the back, just a little bit. I'd still like to see this hip push back a little bit more. We can see like her shoulders out here a little. So I want to see this glute go back. If we do that, I think that'd be right on. Seeing a little bit of water. So just needs to tighten that up right there. But I know she's always battling between being full enough and being too lean. That's always a battle with food. So Really good back shot. I mean, I liked her back shot a lot. I think the only thing that she needs to worry about is the waistline area. And again, like we're seeing a little bit of water here, the little skin folds and stuff like that. So I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing it's because of trying to carb up and get fuller. I'd probably bring the hands down just a touch so that we see more delt here and can open up that back. I think if she opened up the back a little bit, we wouldn't see these skin folds here either. So those are little tweaks and adjustments to make in order to really make this back pose pop. I love the glutes down. I think just the upper body needs to be tweaked a little bit, and that would be a good balance for her. But I think this was actually a really good look for her from the back. I think it's just the waistline where she's got to be careful. Next, we have Jackie Chaney. She's another one where I would say she needs to be careful with the waistline a little bit. She's in condition, really good condition. But I felt like sometimes she would release this a little bit. She looks pretty good here, but every once in a while I'd see the waistline kind of release when I was watching the video and stuff like that. Again, I don't think she's fully in this pose. I think this comes down a little bit. I noticed her as soon as she walked on stage, though. I did notice her as soon as she walked on stage. So she has one of those looks where it's just like, oh, pow, in the face. And so that's always a good thing there. Again, I'm not sure if she's fully in her front pose here in this particular shot. So I'd probably just push the hip a little bit. But again, she may not be in her front pose here. Back shot is where I felt like she kind of shined. Nice full round glutes. This is perfect with the conditioning, tie-in, all that. She is shifted off to one side too. Same thing that we talked about because of her front pose and stuff. She shifted. So I would probably stand up a little taller here in the upper body. I'm not mad at it though. The way she's got her hair and everything like that, I think it works. But overall, I mean, I think she looks great with the glutes. Probably just try to come up just a hair taller, just a hair, and try to shift that weight a little bit so that she's even. That's about it. Wouldn't change a whole lot there. And then we have Eureka, which just goes to show you. I mean, she was the one that we all assumed would come in and probably win this because she just won two in a row. And here we are. She's in third. And she actually just beat the two people that beat her at this show, right? So anything can happen. What I'll say with Eureka is I've noticed this in a lot of her photos. Her arm in her front pose, I like to see that arm relax. Because what it does when she's out here like this is it minimizes this shoulder. And I think if she could let that arm just relax down, I think the shoulder would round out. And that would be a lot more aesthetically pleasing right there for her frame. And she also needs to pull up just a touch because we're seeing some skin folds right here. She's in shape. She's got nice tight conditioning. She's just got some skin folds. So she needs to pull up a little bit taller on this shoulder specifically. That's the only thing with the front pose that I would say she needs to fix. Back pose. Probably just needs to fill out a little bit. I feel like her conditioning could come in a little bit tighter, just a touch. She's a little soft here. That just could be from doing show to show to show. This is her third show in a row. Still want to see this suit cut come down because we're seeing bone. I think that would be helpful. But just, I would say probably just take a break real quick. Pull up a little taller on the knees, maybe open up the stance a little so that she can get the glutes to pop a little bit more. Her toes are out quite a bit for me, but that could be the only way that she's able to get her glutes to actually pop up. So I know I've seen that with a few other people. The reason they pushed the toes out is so they can get the glutes to pop. So maybe that's the reason why she's doing it. But I'd like to see the heels come out a little bit. Keep the toes where they are. Bring the heel out about a quarter of an inch on either side. I think that would be better. But I just think overall, she probably just needs to take a quick breather because she's just been competing a lot. This looks a little bit not quite popped enough. That's all. Malou looked great. This looks better to me than Iron Games, but I still think that the rib cage might be an issue for her here. She may just need to fill out just a little bit more. So we don't see that rib cage. We don't see that sunken in waistline right here. That's the only thing that I see here on this front pose. That's an issue. That's where I'd like to see the improvement. And I'd like to see her push back a little. Same situation here. She's kind of sitting her waistline forward a little, but she might be sitting her waistline forward to try to minimize her rib cage, right? This might be by design. She might be pushing forward so she can minimize all of this in here, because this does look better than what she did at Iron Games. So I have a feeling that's probably why she's doing it. Don't know, but I have a feeling that's probably why she's doing it. And back shot looks great. Nice, high, round, full glutes, and just enough tie in. She has a very different genetic structure than most people, but she does a really good job of filling the glutes out. Upper body, she could stand to open up a little bit. I look like I'd like to see a little bit more delt here. Open this up just a touch, just so we look a little bit better balanced, because she does have those full round glutes. So we want to see some full round delts too. Overall, I think this is a great package for her, and I do think it's better than what she did at Iron Games. I think it's just finding that right show for her, right? If you're on Instagram, go over to YouTube and you'll see who we're talking about. So next up, we have Tamika, who won, and I'm sure everybody was really happy to see Tamika win. She's been knocking on that door all season. Very, very close to a win over and over and over again. So I think everybody was really happy to see her actually get this win. I've said it before. I think her front pose looks phenomenal. I wouldn't change anything here, other than I would try to get the chest to come in a little bit more. Maybe get a suit top that actually connects in the middle, so you can pull your chest in a little. I know it's hard sometimes with anatomy and things like that, but that's the one thing I would change here. Other than that, and that's just a suit top thing, so I would change the suit top. So I'd like to see, that's the only thing I'd like to see differently here. I think this conditioning is right on. I think the shape's right on. She's got great glute pop and waistline. I mean, her hip to waistline ratio is freaking phenomenal. So this looks really, really good. So next thing is her back shot. And again, conditioning, right on. Upper body, maybe bring the hands down a little bit on the legs, maybe, but I think that is okay. She's not poking her elbows way out, so that's good. And we see a nice delt pop on the top, so that's good. I'm okay with that. And maybe the reason she's got her hands up is because that makes her delts pop right there. That could be why. Lower half of the body, I know she's had to come in tighter and tighter at these shows. I think that this is a really good back shot in general. I think that her conditioning is right on. I think that her pop is right on. What I would do going into the Olympia is work on filling the glutes out a little bit more. I would work on filling the glutes out a little bit more. Keep this conditioning level and keep filling the glutes out. That's where she needs to be for Olympia. But this was a great win for her. This was something I think everybody was really happy to see her get the win. We always want to see the girls that have been working hard and knocking at the door. We always want to see them get the win, right? So yeah, congratulations to her. I don't know what her plans are at this point, if she's going to keep competing or if she's going to be done till the Olympia, maybe take a break. She's been competing quite a bit. So I would probably take a break if I was her, just work on kind of filling the frame out, giving yourself a little bit of a rest till the Olympia, right? So I was really happy with the results at Sasquatch. I felt like everybody in that first call out looked great. I think you could have flip-flop anybody into that, that top spot. And I don't think anybody would have really bat an eye. You know what I mean? So with that, we have more shows coming up. So for those of you that have been here for a while, the way that I'm doing this now is I'm doing our wrap-ups live here with you guys, just like we always do. And then I'm doing previews, pre-recorded, and releasing them. So I did my pre-recorded release last week on Thursday. And then the Behind the Bikini podcast is our other upload throughout the week. So if I get that edited by tomorrow, that'll go up tomorrow. If not, then the preview will go up tomorrow. Just one or the other. So for the rest of the week, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and that you have the notifications turned on, because then you'll know when those uploads go live. I'm still doing the previews and I'm still doing the podcast. They're just going up as pre-recorded versus live. We're doing one live a week. This is the live we're doing every week. On top of that, As always, if you want to work with me, if you're on my Instagram, you'll see all of our links in the bio. If you're on YouTube, you see all the links in the description. We have a boutique, we have activewear, we have suits, we have hair and makeup, we have posing, we have all the things. And we also have Cuties Conquering the Stage tickets right here. So QR code on the top is for CCTS 2024. If you want to check out the event, go ahead and scan that. Take a look. You'll see all of the presenters coming. You'll see our sponsors. We have a great list of sponsors, a lot of returning sponsors, a lot of new ones. So check them out. And other than that, that's all I got for tonight. Get yourself a ticket to CCTS, and we'll see you in January if you do. And that's it. Any questions? I'll give it a second for questions. I gotta go eat. I'm freaking hungry. I'll leave it open for one more minute if you guys have questions. And yes, we did Yulia's suit for her. So I'm glad you guys like that. I did just ship out a new one to her, so she may be doing a new suit. We'll see. All right. Well, if there are no questions, then again, subscribe and turn on those notifications so that you know when we upload everything. Come back and comment, ask questions, all the fun things. And I'll see you live again on Tuesday next week, but we'll get our uploads up right for the rest of the week for you guys. You'll have previews, and we'll have our Behind the Bikini podcast too. Okay. Hope you guys have a great night, and we'll see you back here next week. And now Instagram. There we go.